Long before the civil rights movement gained national momentum, a woman of indomitable will was carving out her own kingdom in the streets of Harlem. Stephanie St. Clair, born in the French Caribbean, arrived in New York in the early 1920s with little more than her fierce intelligence and an unshakable belief in her own worth. She had witnessed firsthand the injustices faced by black people, and she was determined not to be a victim. Harlem, amidst its cultural renaissance, was also a hotbed of illegal enterprise, particularly the numbers game, an underground lottery that offered a glimmer of hope to the city's poor. St. Clair saw an opportunity not just for wealth, but for power. She did not ease her way into the numbers racket. She stormed it. In a business run almost exclusively by men, she quickly established herself as a force to be reckoned with. She was elegant and well-spoken, often appearing in public in stylish clothes and a turban, projecting an image of regal authority. But beneath the polished exterior was a core of steel. She was unafraid of confrontation and fiercely protective of her territory and her people. She understood that to succeed, she needed the community's trust. She paid out winnings fairly and on time, earning a reputation for integrity that made her policy bank one of the most popular in Harlem. Her authority was built on a foundation of community support and sheer nerve. She became known as Queenie, a title she wore with pride. When corrupt police officers tried to shake her down, she refused to pay. Instead, she took out advertisements in Harlem newspapers, exposing their corruption by name. She fought the system from within, using her illicit wealth to challenge the very institutions that sought to exploit her and her community. Her defiance was legendary. She was not just a crime boss, she was a folk hero, a woman who dared to stand up to the white establishment and win. St. Clair's success eventually attracted the attention of the white mob, led by the notorious gangster Dutch Schultz, who saw the lucrative Harlem numbers game as his for the taking. When Schultz tried to muscle in on her territory, Queenie declared war. She forged an alliance with another powerful black gangster, Bumpy Johnson, and fought back with a ferocity that shocked Schultz and his crew. She organized resistance, targeted his operations, and even tipped off the authorities to his illegal activities. While she could not defeat Schultz's organization entirely, her defiant stand cemented her legacy as the undisputed Queen of Harlem. Stephanie St. Clair's criminal enterprise was centered on the policy racket, a simple form of lottery immensely popular in working-class communities. Players would bet on a 3-digit number, often based on dreams or omens, and the winning number was typically derived from publicly available figures, like the last 3 digits of the daily U.S. Treasury balance. It was a high-volume, cash-heavy business that required meticulous organization and a network of loyal agents. St. Clair's operation was a model of efficiency. She employed an army of collectors who went door to door, gathering bets and building relationships with customers. Her system was built on trust, a commodity she cultivated with care. Her main ally, especially during her war with Dutch Schultz, was the formidable Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy was a tough and intelligent enforcer who became St. Clair's trusted lieutenant. While Queenie was the strategist and the public face of the operation, Bumpy provided the muscle and street-level command needed to protect their turf. Together, they formed a powerful duo that held the white mob at bay for years. Their partnership was a blend of St. Clair's business acumen and public defiance with Bumpy's strategic violence and underworld connections. They were a formidable team, fighting for their piece of the American dream, albeit an illegal one. St. Clair's methods were a mix of business savvy and bold confrontation. She ran her numbers bank like a legitimate enterprise, ensuring her customers were treated fairly and her employees were well paid. This earned her unwavering loyalty from the Harlem community. When threatened, however, she was ruthless. She used the press as a weapon, outing corrupt officials and turning public opinion against her enemies. She understood the power of information and was not afraid to leverage it. Her fight against Dutch Schultz was not just a street war, it was a public relations campaign, and she was its brilliant, fiery orchestrator. Ultimately, St. Clair's reign as the sole numbers queen began to wane. The end of Prohibition meant that powerful mobsters like Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano turned their full attention to other rackets, including the numbers game in Harlem. The sheer violence and resources of the Mafia were overwhelming. After Schultz was assassinated in 1935, a hit ordered by Luciano, Luciano took over his operations, striking a deal with Bumpy Johnson. St. Clair, seeing the writing on the wall, gradually stepped back from that front lines. She had made her fortune and her name. She retired a wealthy woman, living out her days as a respected, if feared, elder in the community she once ruled. Her legacy was not one of downfall, but of a strategic and dignified exit, a queen who knew when the battle was over.